Should be back. Yeah, sorry about that. Whoa! Thank you for the follow, Rabbit Monger. Man, that still shocks me how loud that is. Yeah, I agree. There is a generalist aspect to Sif. It would be sort of nice. Some sense you might want to think about how she gives spells, but part of the thing is that players really want spell gifts like early, but they'll choose book starts and they think that they need spell gifts early, and they don't actually need spell gifts early. Like, they just have to learn how to use their spells. But for non-book starts, it's definitely an issue. But it's not the biggest priority. I mean, it's you know, the god is usable. It's just most find it, or many find it, very weak, and so it would be nice to. Yeah, it should have the Ethernet nonsense. Oh, no problem, I'm Gunning. Glad you enjoy it. Yeah, this has been a real slow deep health. I keep getting derailed by internet hiccups and other nonsense. Get shot in the face. There's no fish, Jeepicus. We removed fish from Crawl. We removed sharks and fish and jellyfish, which aren't actual fish, but where did you go, Orc Priest? Not sure how that went down, but I'm not gonna complain about it, I guess. Did he get shafted or something, or? There you are. Gotta remember what spells I got going on here. I guess I'll do. Honestly, well, fighting is a little bit hard to get a payout, but I think I'd go for just 5 levels of fighting. Searing Ray is pretty good. It's going to carry us for quite some time. Missed opportunity. There is no fish god in Crawl. God for every animal. Glowing robe. Oh, okay. Oh, it's in the. Never mind. Oh yeah, no, don't do that. If you watch Elliptic play Rabbit Monger, you will see him, he trains his skills. Yeah, I won't say that he makes the same decisions I do, but he's one at a time. If you look at the Lua that he wrote, the target skill, notice how it only sets a target for one skill, and there's a reason for that. That's because he likes to train mostly one skill. It's usually just better to get some payout now for relatively less cost, because you're trying to train it to get something, and you're getting to what you want most. There are times when it doesn't matter as much, and then splitting up skills is okay. And yeah, it adds to menu time for sure, or to game time. And I'm not playing for like real time, and I don't care if it takes long. Why am I'm switching gloves? That's also how QW trains skills. Doesn't bother splitting skills up. Not that QW plays with optimal tactics, but QW is like its master. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but Elliptic is it's like a, what is it, international, or he's at some master, like a FIDE master of chess. I don't understand all the levels they have because I'm not a chess guy. And he's also a MIT math professor. A lot of people don't know that about Elliptic. He's like got a Wikipedia entry and stuff. All around smart guy. He's in Pound Pound Crawl, fairly often, and he's helped me with all sorts of, like 1800. I don't know, people who know chess better. His real name is Aaron Pixton, if you want to look up his Wikipedia page. But yeah, he doesn't have a lot of time to devote to Crawl these days. He's pretty busy. But he's helped me on all sorts of projects, and I've implemented a lot of some things that he suggested, like the null rework was his suggestion for making it like Skill Robin, actually based on a suggestion that Mikey made, and he mentioned it to Elliptic. And because the 2 iterations we went through with nulls, we weren't happy with the first one. The second one, which was based on an idea that Minmay suggested, it didn't work. Nobody liked it. It needed more like thought. The core idea that she suggested was maybe good, but it needed a lot more development. But Mikey suggested the Skill Robin one, and the joke was he mentioned it to Elliptic, and I think Elliptic's response was, that might be a terrible idea. And Mikey kind of like dropped it, and then the next day, I guess after Elliptic thought about it, he mentioned it to me in IRC. And when he was asking about nulls and what was going to happen with them, and I heard the idea that they would just train all skills, and I thought, that actually sounds really cool. And it's similar in spirit to the first iteration of nulls that Flood Killer implemented himself, but it solves the breakpoint issue. It's even less UI. So it seemed like a really good approach. And the joke was that I credited Elliptic, and so it was like a running joke that the 3 of us had, that we were stealing credit from Mikey. It wasn't, I think others had thought about maybe having a species that operated like this, and I think Flood Killer liked the idea when he heard it too. So, like a lot of good ideas, sometimes multiple people have them independently. Yeah, that sounds high to me. I will never play him, even if given the opportunity. I will not play him in chess. But as good as Elliptic is, he does die right there. He's just recently he lost to Tengu on D2. Just be like Bill Gates. Lose to play chess versus, what was it? It was Magnus Carlsen, or maybe it was somebody else. His Elliptic's idea was removing the spawns. That was another big project I worked on in 021, was reworking, and that was sort of a fun one because Elliptic was saying to me that like we could really remove spawns, and it would also help it would help me move the game to aught-based scoring, which is a local patch that Elliptic had been working on, although I don't think he's working on it right now. But one of the issues with that, we knew that we would probably prefer the game to not have spawns because of the complications they make to, like, fighting trivial monsters over and over again, and how they don't actually succeed in what they're trying to do, and how you could, his idea was just maybe generate monsters awake and just increase monster placement initially. But we weren't sure how many spawns actually occurred in places like Zot, especially like Zot 5 and other places, Vaults 5 or what have you. We didn't really know how much XP you get. So before we did it, he mentioned like it'd be nice if we just had that data. So I implemented that XP counting table so we could see, and we learned that rather little XP comes from spawns, even on Zot 5, actually quite little. So I implemented the lack of spawns and it was a pretty simple patch, but it was, generating monsters awake and some other small aspects. And then he did a bunch of test runs with QW using Gargoyle Berserker, and he has like an offline setup for QW, and he has an offline sequel. And so he ran like thousands of QW games and then put the stats into his local sequel, and then just looked at the XP to see if our adjustment of monsters had made it so that before and after the change, the XP you got was basically the same. And once we settled on the right number, we had done that. And then we looked at like QW's win rate to see, well, how does it affect game difficulty? And it had a quite subtle effect. QW was like winning somewhat fewer games, but the win rate was not markedly lower. And then we just play tested it in Trunk, and it ended up working out okay. Next project will be maybe to remove food, and yeah, some people felt like it would ruin the thing where like, oh, you get cornered by a monster that flanked you when you were fighting something. The idea being that it was a spawn, but oftentimes that doesn't actually happen through spawns. Like monsters will just wander on the map. That's why we made monsters generate awake. That does have some aspects, like maybe it made slime a little bit worse, or not slime, spider, because spider has this huge monster density, which is perhaps too high. I'm so focused on talking. I think I'm on a normal level. I'm just like, I think I'm going to open this door and there's going to be like caustic strikes or something in here. Okay, I said I wanted to go Sif, but we got no Sif. We do have Veh. Would I be okay with Veh? Where are we right now? I mean, Veh's pretty cool for extended. We are a deep elf. But yeah, people were worried they were going to lose monster wandering, but that's what increasing the number. We gave each monster like a 1 in 8, each level monster, not vault monsters, so only monsters that spawn normally on the level map. We gave them a 1 in 8 chance of spawning awake. Before they would always spawn asleep. And then vault spawns are unchanged, they always spawn asleep. And then spawns in some places still exist, like Pan still has monster spawns. It has its own sort of setup there, and of course Abyss. So do I want to skip? I have Veh here. Do I want to do that instead of... How much do I care about having Sif? I would like to do a Zig. Maybe with this character. These days, CBOE is a little trickier. It was a sort of a go-to thing when Clarity existed, but I'm probably not going to have access to Clarity. I'm just thinking how easy it's going to make Extend. It should be fine. I'm just sort of thinking about what I'll do. Sif is nice because then I don't have to mess with any of that. The actual MP I get back, it tends to be a little bit higher with Vehumet because you get so many kills in a Zig, but you do have to channel sometimes, and that's the only issue. So you can stay out of Necromutation and try to use like some Sublim or use CBOE out of Necromute. You can't safely use it. If you look into Wukod Mu, you can use that, but it's the same issue. You can get confused. Yeah, I have plenty of 15 rune experience, Iggy. I'm just sort of thinking kind of convenience. I've done 15 runers with Veh and with Sif. I've done a Zig with Sif. I've only done about, I think, 3 Zigs, but Sif is for sure totally safe. I'm just thinking about now how convenient it will be. I know what was my last win? It was a Sif win, wasn't it? Oh well. I think it was Sif. I guess I could do Veh again. Yeah, it will be conventional. Yeah, they do. The good Zig gods, if you're interested, Gozag is actually an excellent choice for Zigs. Probably the best god if you want to go mega zigging, because the passive distract is really strong. You get potion effects on demand. You can tornado and passive Gozag your way through the Zig. So tornado will be more effective because a lot of the monsters won't be able to hit you quite as much. And of course, you've got a great panic button. And you've even got a use for that gold, although that's extremely relatively unimportant. Maklub is very good for healing. You get tons of HP on kill by killing all that stuff. And Vehumet is very good in a Zig because you get tons of MP back for every kill you make. For doing a single Zig, you can really do whatever god. Just a single one, it's fine. Some are stronger, like the ones I mentioned, but it's sort of like if you go mega zigging that you might really want to restrict yourself to some of the ones I mentioned. Gozag, Vehumet is actually better than Sif. Of course, Zom. Zom goes without saying. Hey, look, it's Rider on the Storm, but a video game remix. Well played, sir. Not gonna let you do that to me again, mister. We got up here. Oh, why would you do this? Pistachio, please. I need you to cooperate, Pistachio. Cooperate. Cooperation is what makes the world go round, Pistachio. There we go. Random effects, holy crap. Speedrun Horse Zom says, how do I make this Sig more dangerous? Oh, Grinder. We don't like Grinder. Grinder is bad for elf. Grinder ruins the health of your elf. Just nothing good comes from Grinder. Thus, of course, I have my trusty potion of lignification, solver of all problems. Almost as guaranteed a victory as Immolation Scroll. Become a tree, or you can't lose. You're a tree. Trees only know how to win. Wow, Iggy. I don't get it. Maybe Jeepicus can explain. So there's some Searing Ray for you. Taking down ogres works pretty well if you're a deep elf. So I'm switching based on skill cost here. I will probably. Do I want to go back to some Conj? I might actually. It kind of makes sense to go back to some dodging. I'll work on a little bit more conj. Yeah, I mean, you know, crawl is fairly forgiving if your tactics are good of like less optimal skilling decisions. So I don't want you to think that if you don't. All right, so grinders on this floor. It's a big floor, but I also just don't really have a counter to. I don't even have a teleport scroll. I don't have wands, but aside from random effects, so it's not good to tempt fate. Well, what do you know? It isn't the man himself. That's exactly why I should have just gone down. Should have gone down. I knew better. We'll try some scrolls. It's noise. Okay. There's our out. Now we know where Grinder is. Not gonna waste any time getting the heck off this level. I mean, you can kill him, but it's a lot better if you've got some plan for it. And oh well, who it is? Down he goes. Fulminant Prism. Uh-oh. Fortunately, I made a lot of noise there. There's always more whites where that came from. Get a chill pot. Try to avoid nice little use of that agile pot there. Risky, a little bit risky. I should have checked more carefully what stuff they had. Not proper streak play. Yeah, it's a situationally pretty good spell. I tend to move on to other spells, but that's often with like Sif, who will maybe get you a first gift that's really like a strong spell, so you don't have to mess with it. With Veh, it takes them a while to. I guess I said I was not going to play all that much of this character. But I ended up playing more than I thought I would. A lot of orcs over here. Ooh, Orc Warrior. He's not really feeling it. I mean, we're getting something, but we're not getting enough. Running out of space. I'm also running out of MP. This is where Hex Wand would be pretty great. Not random effects, though. Not that. That's not so great. How shall I deal with you? Don't really want to go with the Searing Ray and hope that it hits you. Although he's only got a short sword. That's good at least. There we go. I figured that would do the job. Mr. Priest helpfully shows up, which I didn't appreciate. He did more damage than the Orc Warrior. There's our heal wounds. We go for some more dodging. Give me quokka meat. Oh, this fault. So a lot of you probably don't train up as much dodging early as this, but I tend to go for it because each point adds a lot of staying power for your character in any fight. On average. You always got to be ready to retreat, maybe, but that's usually not too bad. And the cost is pretty right. We're not spending much XP. We'll get these points, we'll get up to, say, dodging 8 very quickly. And we'll have a few more points of EV. Goes a long way. First wand. Oh, there's old Blorky. Down you go. Searing Ray is kind of nice for that penetration effect. Helps conserve MP pretty well. Blinking monsters not the best targets for it, but sometimes they'll cooperate for at least 2 turns, so it's fine. Gourmand. Yeah, it is quite MP. It is quite handy as a way to get a bunch of damage for not much MP. That is for sure. We'll keep on Gourmand for now. It's really totally irrelevant. Actually, probably should try on something else, to be perfectly honest. Don't really want to get stuck with Drain, but I'm not actually worried about it. Okay, that's good. That's better. I'm just not going to get much mileage out of Gourmand given my spell usage. Whereas Faith with Veh can be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to have a lot of spell levels.